Hello, I'm Tanya Penny, your abundance catalyst and freedom coach. And as you know, we've been talking about connecting and trusting infinite wisdom, or something bigger, whatever you want to call that, whatever you might call that. Right now I call it higher levels. Some of you might call it universe, God, source, Mother Nature, Jesus. Fill in the blank with whatever you want to call it today, and know that that might even change over time like it has for me. So as I've been telling you or sharing with you, I've had a disconnection due to growing up with Catholicism and really just throwing out rules, not really wanting any rules, not really liking the God that I was told about and grew up with. So it's been kind of a long journey for me back, and got some birds joining us. It's been kind of a long journey back for me, and in a nutshell, the MS, multiple sclerosis, when I was diagnosed with that, that was my wake-up call. That is really the thing that turned around and made me look at not only, what was the cause, what was missing in my life, and really seeing that one of the things that was missing was something bigger, had that connection with something bigger, and trusting. So I've given you already 2 parts, and this is part 3. So today what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be sharing with you a few tips and tools to help you trust and follow something bigger. Part 1, I gave you some questions to reflect on. Do you have a connection with something bigger, and if so, how much do you trust and follow it? And I had you rate that on a scale of 1 to 10. You can find that below, as well as another question. And then part 2 was I gave you some tips to connect with something bigger, with infinite wisdom. And again, you can find that below. So let's dive into today, actually trusting and following, right? Because we can go ahead and connect, but then if we don't actually listen and follow the guidance that we receive, kind of doesn't help, does it? The connection might help somewhat, right? It might help take away some anxiety, it might help with the stress, but really it's about moving forward and listening to guidance you receive and following it, right? Taking actions or stopping doing something if that's the guidance. So number 1, practice. So a lot of us have been out of practice with this. So daily practice of connecting and then trusting. And what do I mean when I say practice trusting? Well, listen for the guidance, right? Use some of part 2, listen for the guidance, and then actually follow through with it and see what happens, right? So that's the scary part, which brings me to number 2 tip, and that is be aware of your blocks. So the biggest block to getting guidance and to following it is fear. Oftentimes we'll get guidance to do something, and well, we might get the guidance, but we might cut it off and pretend we didn't hear it because our ego is afraid of either losing love, right? Losing attention or love from a family member, our spouse, our kids. And the other big one is money, right? So you can be guided to do something. Maybe it's to work with a certain healer or coach, like myself. Maybe it's to sign up for a program for your business. Fill in the blank. Take this trip because you're being guided to do that for your growth, your personal growth. And the ego goes, oh my God, that's so much money. I don't have that money. I don't know where I'm going to get that money. So fear. Be aware of your fears of loss of love or money are the big ones. And of course your job, which equals money. Because the ego is really afraid, right, of survival. And those 2 things especially. And that can block your guidance from even getting it or block you from following it, right? So the 3rd tip that I want to give you is that when you get your guidance, it's often not going to be rational, or it might not make reason or make logical sense. to the ego, right? To our logical mind. It might be like, well, where did that come from? Like, and then your ego is going to try and figure it out, and why and how, and we got to let that go, right? Letting go of a guarantee, for instance. So it's not always going to make sense. It's not going to be rational or logical. So just remember that when you get your guidance. And then, got my little cheat sheet here so I remember. When you get your guidance, it will often be calm. It won't be urgent, right? The ego has got that like, come on, hurry up, you should, you have to. Our guidance doesn't talk to us like that. It's usually fairly calm. Now, it might trigger some fear after you get the guidance from the ego. And you go like, oh my God, that's so hard, or I don't have the money, or oh my God, my family's gonna think I'm crazy, or, right? But the actual guidance itself is usually calm. And then again, the last tip, which was the first tip, is practice. So really practicing, connecting, asking for the guidance, listening, and then actually taking action and following it. And just take baby steps at first, you know, but start taking actions and see what happens. That's the only way that we're going to get good at this, is practice. And then, of course, beware of your blocks. So below, I've got two things for you. One is a little exercise I actually created for my Abundant Life Mastery program. It's called a connection exercise. I gave them more than one, but I'm going to share one with you today. So go down below this video and you can find it in part 3, and you can use that to help you to connect, trust, and follow. You can try that. And then, as always, TMP can really help. My guided therapeutic meditation practice is a tool that I use to connect and also to release those blocks of fear. So I've also given you a little sample practice below to try and listen to help release those blocks of fear, money, you know, anything else that is connected with not being able to trust something bigger. So again, enjoy. And if this message really resonated with you, feel free to pass it on. And yeah, and check out the other events that I have going on below this video, and sign up for something, and they're free online events, and you might just find something that you need today. So thanks for joining me. I'm Tanya Penny, your abundance catalyst and freedom coach.